Hello everyone! Before we get today's episode going, I have a very special announcement to make. In case you didn't know, the person that helps me out with running this podcast, Tipsy J Hards, she is slowly but surely developing her own independent animated show, The Evil Little Thing. If you've ever seen this little goat anywhere, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're trying to really make this a reality, and of course, there's only so much that a handful of people can do, so we want to make sure that we can secure some funds so we can truly get a crew together and truly make this series special. And I should know, I'm part of that crew. I helped write the pilot episode and probably subsequent episodes as well. So, in order to make sure that we can make this show a reality, we're going to be hopping on the Cesspool live stream. Cesspool Livestream is a incredible collective of artists and voice actors that, for as low as $5, you can have a request for a drawing or a voice acting request of some sorts, which I think you would absolutely love. May 6th and 7th, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can hop on in with a cool collective of incredible artists, and we can just have a fun blast while trying to reach our goal of $1,000 so that we can get this pilot off the ground and we can hopefully make this series a reality. I've been able to tune into a couple of the Cesspool live streams, and trust me when I say you want to be there. If nothing else, just to see the chaos that is going to ensue. There will be chaos, I promise you that. So once again, May 6th and 7th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on each day. If you go to twitch.tv/arcskink, link will be in the description below, I got you. You can see when we go live and we can have a fun time making this pilot a reality. I know that this pilot is very special to Tipsy, and it's very special to me as well, but it's more special for Tipsy, I can tell you that right now. So I really want to help her get this off the ground. So any love and support you guys can give, or even just basically spreading the word out, would be greatly appreciated. So once again, May 6th and 7th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come join us for the Cesspool live stream to help make The Evil Little Thing a reality. Everyone, and welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and welcome back to Amateur April, the one time of year where I find some incredible artists that I think deserve a much stronger following. And even though we are at the end of Amateur April, well, I could just say that we are not down for the 3 count, because we have one more incredible guest to round it out. Today's guest is Lord of the Flyweights, Maxwell Keith, a professional wrestler and VTuber with a strong presence on both mediums. Maxwell is someone that I've been lucky to know thanks to some of the friend groups I've been hanging out with, and seeing how he's been able to kill it, no matter if it's real life or virtually, I knew it was only a matter of time before I had to bring him on the podcast to talk about just the weird journey that he has set himself on. And I think you guys are going to absolutely love the episode I have for you today. Make sure you support Max with all the links down in the description below, especially buying some of that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com. I hear if he sells enough of them, he might be able to get some more up there. Just saying. If not, it's still a good design. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. I see that stuff, and I absolutely love it. If you want to go even further with that support, maybe you should consider contributing to our Patreon at patreon.com/PMAP. There you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content, bonus episodes, opportunity to ask guest questions, and so much more. And look, if all you want is a nice, cool, casual place where you can meet some of these other artists that have been brought on the podcast, or just meet a group of people that truly love art in general, maybe you should consider joining our Discord server, the Artist Sanctuary. The group we've already been able to culminate there has been absolutely wonderful. I love seeing the art and memes they've been able to produce, and I think you would be a wonderful addition to that today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. I have been recording this little intro bit right here, mainly for syncing up like my audio and this whatnot, because I record Audacity separately. Is okay if I can include some of these intro bits right here as part of the podcast, like to help ease the audience into the conversation?
Yeah, you can do that.
Awesome.
Fuck, demonetize, fuck.
Oh no, I might get demonetized. Woo.
Gotta get that yellow dollar sign, baby.
No. I think they're okay with fuck. You gotta pull out the elaborate swear words in order to get some demonetization going.
Turn the recording off real quick.
All right, if you're ready on your end, I'm just going to do one little last thing. Just talking to my little brother super quick because he's in the next room and I want to make sure that his voice doesn't pick up. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
He's still filming. He's gonna look back and hear what I'm saying. Man, this podcast stinks. Yeah. You ain't gonna know that I told him his podcast freaking stinks. Yeah. They ain't gonna know that I said this podcast stinks. Oh, they're gonna know that I said this podcast stinks.
I'm scared to go back.
Oh shit! I wasn't looking.
I'm scared because I saw that you were talking, so I'm scared to go back and listen to everything that you said right there. Okay, Max, before we really get started, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may.
No problem, go ahead.
Let's say you get to go to a deserted island on your own accord. It is just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe. You get to truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations, you're not stranded on this island. It's a paradise, for God's sakes. Okay. But to make sure you don't go completely, batshit insane on this island, you can bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever mentality you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
Oh God, brother, piece of media or a piece of art. Well, definitely not a piece of art because I'm gonna look at that for about 5 seconds and be like, all right, I've seen all I need to see. I don't really have like a comfort or sanity piece of media.
I mean, keep in mind, whenever I say media, I mean, the realm is like far and wide. I mean, it could be a show, movie, video game, whatever you consider media.
I know. The thing is, I always, with the way I work, I always get tired of everything. Like, nothing's going to really help me keep my sanity forever.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you're not stranded on this island forever. It's for as long as you want. So if like there's something you've wanted to catch up on or something like that, you can use that for this opportunity.
I can leave?
Yeah, of course you can leave.
I can leave whatever I want?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a paradise. It's not your new home.
I get you. I get my Mr. Beast retreat. Mr. Beast has gifted me an island.
There you go. Exactly.
Oh God, I still don't have an answer. Oh God. The thing is, I don't watch TV.
Okay.
I don't really watch shows.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen maybe 2 movies over the collective last 2 years.
Understandable.
There's not really. I guess no, because I'd be. Do I have internet access?
Yeah, you have internet access.
But I only get one piece of media. I wanted to say I'd use that time to finally 100% the Yakuza series. That's a series. That's multiple pieces of media.
Hey, I'm very lenient with this rule. If you want to say the full Yakuza series, say the full Yakuza series.
You said piece of media. I need to.
Okay, well, technically, if I can allow people to watch the entirety of like a series of a TV show, I could let you play a series of a video game.
Well, there's like, you get like a DVD box set, that's a single piece of media.
It can be, but look, I'm lenient on this thing. I'm not gonna like, I'm not chaining you down to like a restriction of only one singular game. If you want to say the Yakuza series, just say it.
We're gonna say the Yakuza series.
Okay. Is there any particular reason why you want to go with the Yakuza series?
Because I am very busy and I've made it to my goal to 100% the entire series, and I'm up to 5.
Okay.
And I wanna finish that because I haven't played 7 yet because of this, and I heard 7's incredible, and I really want to play it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've heard that too. I mean, it's hard to deny, really, especially with like how intricate and how unique those games are or whatnot. It's very easy to get lost in that world more than anything else.
Oh yeah.
But nevertheless, the Yakuza series. That is your answer. You're locking that in.
That's my series. I'm locking it in. That's my $1 million answer? Am I correct?
You are correct because it's your own answer. It's hard for you to be wrong with your own answer. And with that, you get to win a trip to the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You can support the podcast on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/PMAP. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PostmodArtPod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. From Gumbo Incorporated, he is a professional wrestler and VTuber, the Lord of the Flyweights, and your reigning, defending, undisputed TikTok champion of the world. Welcome to the podcast, Maxwell Keith.
I'm still sitting behind the curtain, Gorilla, because my music hasn't hit the right part yet. I'm waiting behind the curtain for my music. And there I come, there I go, there I am, it's me.
How are you doing today, Maxwell?
I'm doing pretty dang okay, we'll go. I'm doing pretty dang okay today.
Well, I would at least like to hope it's okay, because the fact that I am talking to a current champion right now, I am so honored.
That's recognized as that belt. It's a freaking basically house show belt.
Hey, say what you want, all right? But TikTok is a very recognizable brand, and especially with how the people at the top are having their eyes glued to TikTok right now with this TikTok ban. I'm surprised they're not pulling you into Congress to defend why you need to be defending this championship day in and day out.
They don't want me in Congress, let me tell you. I mean, stuffing heel kicks into everybody up there.
To be fair, considering who's in Congress, I think people would cheer that on immensely. So, but before we really divulge into the wrestling you're doing nowadays and the championship that you are so prestigiously holding, I want to go back just a little bit, if I may, and learn more or less the origin story of Maxwell. What got you interested in art and media and wrestling in the first place?
So, I barely consumed wrestling prior to wrestling. It was like an on and off. I acknowledged its existence and I would watch a little bit, but I barely kept up with the stories. I had no idea what went into it. I didn't appreciate the craft whatsoever. And then my friend Patrick was like, "Hey, WrestleMania's in a." This was at a time when we were on to watching. He's like, "Yo, WrestleMania's in New York City. That's in Brooklyn, New Jersey. It's like it was 2 hours away. We should go to WrestleMania." And I'm like, I don't know about WrestleMania. It's like a big wrestling event. It's like a big show. People just go to WrestleMania. Yeah. He's like, there's probably never going to be in Jersey again. It hasn't been Jersey in a long time. We should go. And I'm like, thought about it for a bit. I'm like, okay, we'll go to WrestleMania.
Let me ask you before you continue. The one that's in Jersey, are you talking about WrestleMania 29 or WrestleMania 35? Because 29 was in New York, New Jersey as well.
35, the red WrestleMania.
The red and gold one, the one that was main evented by the women's triple threat match?
Yeah, the one that was 8 hours long.
The one that was 8 hours long. Yeah, I was going to say that next. Okay.
With no intermission, and I had to have my bag in my lap the whole time because right before the show started, somebody behind me spilled beer.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Oh, it was beautiful.
I'll say, to be fair, the first WrestleMania I ever watched, whenever I was first getting into wrestling was again in 2016. So that was WrestleMania 32, which was 7 hours long and ended with a 30-minute match between Roman Reigns and Triple H. So yeah, I get that feeling. But nevertheless, so WrestleMania's in town. How does that pique your interest more than anything else? How does it drag you in?
It wasn't actually. It had nothing to do with WrestleMania. We had purchased one of the ticket packages. I believe we had a weekend pass, but we just skipped the Hall of Fame that weekend.
Fair.
This was in the era of Black and Gold NXT, and we had been to one takeover event before on a whim. We had been to Brooklyn Takeover 4, and some cheap like $60 seats. The side of the entrance ramp, like way back in the nosebleeds, like the ring post was blocking our view for
lovely.
most of the show. But we went, we're like, yeah, that was pretty good. That's pretty fun. Decided to go again. We were actively trying to get invested in the stories, and it wasn't even like the wrestling. It was just the crowd and the crowd's response to everything and the way they reacted to everything, especially those takeover crowds. Like if you watch I think the main event, Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano 2 out of 3 Falls, is on YouTube now for free. Just listening to that fucking crowd was enough for me to like consider it. And I brought up the idea to somebody, and at first they laughed at me, and then I kept being pushy with it. Reached out to a couple people who were local. Was right about to go back, right about to try going into college because I felt like I wasn't doing much. And then I missed the sign up for classes. And immediately after that, the company I work for now, Excite Wrestling, opened a location at our local mall. Which also meant they had a dedicated location and training school because before they were training out of a Legion and it was a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And I hopped on board day 2 because I was working day 1, and I've been going at it ever since.
Hell yeah, that's incredible to hear. I want to go back just a little bit, especially when you were talking about the crowd with like the NXT takeover or whatnot. Like especially back when it was the Black and Gold days, when it was like prime NXT or whatnot. Those crowds were like the selling point just for any show, for any pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
Those crowds were some of the hottest crowds to ever exist in wrestling, period. I mean, goodness. The part that like is kind of baffling me, we'll talk more about the wrestling aspect or whatnot. I'm curious, was there any sort of like art or media that you were more or less consuming or like considering like being a part of before the wrestling take a hold of? Like, were you ever considered like going into an art field beforehand, or was wrestling more or less like the pathway into an art aspect?
Wrestling was the beginning. I never really. There was ideas of becoming a writer, like for a brief stint of time when I was younger, but aside from that, nothing really art or content creation related until wrestling started. I mean, even streaming and creating content online, and which led into me actually starting to draw again, was just constantly just a joke and a hypothetical and a fucking, hey, that'd be cool if we did that. And then I decided to start streaming exclusively to provide a boost to my professional wrestling.
Well, there you go. That's a good aspect to think of, especially with how social media kind of runs wrestling these days. Like some of the biggest names off the top of my head, like some of the biggest names I could think about is like Effie, Danhausen, Warhorse, like Ali Catch, like Matt Cardona, especially nowadays or whatnot. Like the way that they're able to like carry their brand and like have social media more or less be like the censor for their wrestling universes. Like I can see how like the streaming aspect kind of leads into that, especially as you go down the wrestling path. So I have to wonder, like, when did from you goes from this like a passing interest in wrestling to a passion and wanting to make it your career?
Just when I really was getting started, and just early on, there was times when I thought, well, not really early, I guess in the middle of it, there were times when I thought it wasn't really worth it, considering this was the wrestling atmosphere is completely different to anything anyone can ever experience. I mean, you would think there wouldn't be such a serious stigma and like mentality around a bunch of guys who are essentially like glorified circus clowns. But oh my fucking god, the level of respect people have for the business and each other and everything is fucking nuts. Like, coming into it as if you go into it as the most extroverted socialite ever, you're gonna have a hard time transitioning. But I was going into it with fucking zero experience, having basically never had friends in school up until my last like 2 years of high school, and having a bunch of undiagnosed mental hang-ups and being bullied for 90% of my school life. I was going in with absolutely zero, and it was a fucking mess.
I can imagine. I mean, like, especially the community of wrestling, like, I imagine, like, really helped with whatever you may have to find, like, especially, how do I want to word this? Like, that's one of the things I've always loved and admired when it comes to wrestling. It's one of the things that, like, drew me into it more than anything else was, like, the community that builds around it, whether it's fan or the wrestlers themselves. Like, especially whenever you're, like, really in the trenches, like, really putting in the time and effort, like, the hours on end, you know, to get your spots right, to make sure you make sure how to protect yourself and the person you're going up against or whatnot. Like, it's a full art form, and it's a really good community builder at the end of the day. I'm sure you can easily attest to that, because in fact, how deep in the trenches you are at this point.
Oh yeah, easy. Easily.
Can you think of a particular moment or maybe a particular story to where it just kind of clicked with you with like, oh my god, this is something different. This is something else.
So I was never active and never played sports or really like just went anywhere or did anything. And in high school, I took up amateur wrestling on a fucking complete whim. Nearly quit in the first week because my body was just didn't want anything to do with it.
Right.
And the coach said, "You're gonna give me one more week and then tell me how you feel." But he would have let me quit if I still wanted to quit after a week, just because he knew exactly what was happening with me, because I had never fucking worked out to that physical degree, so my body was just in a heap.
Right.
I gave him that week, and I realized that there was just something about the physicality of amateur wrestling, just doing things involving such intricate body control that just clicked with me and just like gave me an immediate like full blast of feel-good chemical. And I always wanted to do something involving just entertaining people if I could make it happen, however that was going to be. And when those two fun, happy, feel-good chemicals crashed and made something all new in my brain, and then exploded, and then my eyes fell out of my head, and then my jaw hit the floor, and my tongue rolled out like a big scroll. I was like, damn, this is literally everything I want out of something. And just seeing the impact I had on certain people, and realizing the impact I could have on people as a role model for kids who are in the exact same position I was in all those years ago, was just like, damn, this is. I would love to just make a legacy of just making people happy, and just do that for the rest of my life, however that be. Just make not even just with wrestling, just forge a fucking entertainment empire, just make a shitload of people happy, and I'm good.
Well, there you go. And we'll definitely indulge into the empire you're slowly developing for yourself at this point. But I mean, like, I have to know more or less, like, just about you as a wrestler, like at least the personality you persist more than anything else. Like, how would you best describe like your style going into this wrestling thing?
Please describe style in more detail for me, so I
Like,
know exactly what you're asking for.
Like, would you consider yourself more or less like, you know, the dominant good guy that's going to be persisting at the end of the day, or you consider yourself more like the sniveling bad guy that wants to try out to do any means necessary to make sure that they secure the win?
Right now, so I was trained by somebody with a super old school mindset.
Okay.
And I am trying my damnedest to be the change I want to see in wrestling, because right now there is a lot of guys who just want to come across as really fucking cool and badass, and just care about their image as if their character is like a reflection of their real life selves.
Right.
And I think that's stupid.
Fair.
Whichever role I play, I am totally fine. Right now at X, I've primarily been just the most baby-faced baby you could possibly think of. Just some tiny little scrapper with not a single ounce of quit in them. And despite doing that for so long, I've grown tired of doing that style. I'm never going to be a main eventer. It's not going to fucking happen. There are so many guys who are not only better than me, but the problem with the main event scene is this is a body sport, and my body doesn't like me. My body is actively trying to kill me every second of every day. I can't look like a main event star, so I'm not going to try to convince people that I'm a main event star because that is going to be so much fucking harder than just being myself and convincing people of that.
Okay.
So I can play either role. When it comes to being babyface, I'm just being me. I'm just being an unfiltered goof. There is a tiny insignificant amounts of effort that go into being a babyface for me. It is so natural and easy. The only thing is I just need to remind myself to be a bit more vocal or emote a little bit more. But when I do it, I know exactly what to do. I don't need to pre-plan like fucking taunts or things I need to say. I could just do it. I just need to remind myself to do those things. And when it comes to being a heel, I feel like the problem with people wanting to just be super cool and a badass is especially problematic when people are heels, because I feel like heels need to be the ass end of the joke every single time, and these dudes are so concerned with looking so big and cool that they're not willing to make themselves look stupid. In fact, I have just started doing tag team heel work with somebody, and I've already told them that we are basically not getting our chance to put offense in unless we cheat.
Right.
Because we shouldn't be super dominant, because people don't fucking care if it's just two guys fighting, and every so often the heel just lifts a finger to the crowd and says, "Fuck you, shut up." Nobody cares. Crowd, we had a pre-show crowd for our debut match as a heel tag team. And so, I don't know, half to 50, like 60 to 80% capacity compared to the full show. It was a little quieter than when the show actually started.
Right.
But the biggest times when they came up from booing was when we cheated and my tag partner broke up a pinfall on me. Those were the two times the crowd came up the biggest. And people not doing enough of that, people not willing to make fools of themselves. People love it when the heels are made to look to be the asshole. We did a spot on Friday where basically I got slingshotted into the heel's nuts and everyone laughed and loved it. And the heel sold his balls for 2 straight minutes, and it was hilarious and everyone loved it. And it made the heel win even better because everyone wanted to see the heel get. It made the face win bigger because everyone wanted to see the face kick the heel in the chin. It's just, people gotta have the right mindset going into it. And I feel like a lot of people are a bit too concerned with their image.
Right. I mean, that everyone seems to have the mindset, especially whenever they're being the bad guys, that they want to be like The Rock or Roman Reigns nowadays or whatnot, being this badass like dominant heel that like owns the yard, acknowledge me, head of the table. But like, no, you need like the bad guys, like a Jerry the King Lawler when he was a bad guy or whatnot.
You
like,
do.
Yeah, like an over the top character that is willing to do whatever it takes to just make a fool of themselves, but also find a way to get the win, or to just appear, like you can tell their motives. You can tell like how sneaky they're being or whatnot. Like that's what makes wrestling entertaining, more or less. You could probably test this. It's not so much who's the one that's being dominant, but how they're able to tell the story of how they get the win at the end of the day. Like, I can only imagine for you, like some of the storytelling elements that you're trying to implement with your wrestling or whatnot, that has to be like almost relieving whenever you're actually able to like get something down and like actually make it work, tell the story.
Oh my God, yes.
I was gonna say, I know a little hint that I've gotten with that is with some of the shorts that you've made ever since you've really gotten into wrestling or whatnot, especially with like the most recent one, one of the more recent ones you did of like, being the TikTok champion and like trying to get to all those big companies to try to see if you can get an appearance with them. Is like, look, I tell them nothing less than 4 digits or I'm not showing up at all. Whatever, whatsoever. Like, it's the humor stuff like that I really do appreciate when it comes to wrestling more than anything else. I think with what I've been able to see, you're doing a good job, like really presenting yourself that way.
Oh yeah. Like,
can you think of some of like how much of a kick do you get from doing like goofy stuff like that, just silly stuff at like whether it's in a match or in like in behind the scenes?
I want to do it in matches more, but no. but nobody else is fucking goofy. Nobody else is goofy, or I don't have enough time, and we gotta worry about, we gotta get the baby faces shine, we gotta do the cutoff. Our entrances have been 2 minutes, so we got 5 minutes to work now. There's not enough fucking time ever to do it, or people just don't want to do it. It's just, and then if I fit it in, it's just like, we'll squeeze it in here, and then it's fucking stupid and falls flat because we're just doing a goofy spot for no reason.
I can understand that. I can understand where you're coming from with that one. I mean, especially in the fact that at this point you're still like you're still developing or whatnot, and like people may not see your ideas up to snuff because, especially when it comes to the bookers, they have their ideas on how they want the show to be played out, or the wrestlers that have paid their dues or whatnot, they have their idea on how matches and stuff need to be played out. I'm sure when the opportunity arises, when you find that like perfect partner to where you can do that goofy stuff with or whatnot, it's gonna be magic and people are going to love it.
I'm hoping. I got my fingers crossed.
Hey, I got them crossed with you or whatnot. I mean, I will say something that also helps out is, at least at this point, with what I've been able to see, the way you've been able to present yourself, I at least feel like you're very confident with it, especially with this, at least, nickname of the Lord of the Flyweights. Now, I have to know, where did that name or persona come from in the first place?
So, I haven't actually read Lord of the Flies.
Okay.
I just know it exists.
Okay.
And the whole bit basically stemmed from a stroke of inspiration. One night I brought up the idea and it was immediately approved. I was sitting in a voice chat on Discord, staring at the ceiling. I thought of the book. I thought of the weight class flyweight. I said Lord of the Flyweights out loud to myself, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's genius! Went to one of the trainers the next day, and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be the Lord of the Flyweights. I'm gonna flick the ropes and the noise they make. I'm gonna wiggle my hands to emulate the sound of like a bug's wings beating, and they thought it was fucking hilarious. But the fly has sort of been my mine and my main homies group collective logo forever. Stemming from a joke where we came up with this hypothetical character called the Money Fly, who thinks anything, who just wants anything and everything that can be perceived as currency, even remotely, and just wants all of it, and just destroys worlds collecting all of the currency it can get its hands on. And I would just create the fly as a logo in every game with a logo creator to be our little Gumbo Inc. fucking little icon, and then I'm just like, I'll just apply this to my thing. I mean, I already got the icon. I'll just adapt the fly into something new.
Well, there you go. And I must say, I really do appreciate, again, how much you've embraced this character or whatnot, as well as how some of the others have embraced this character. I remember watching a match online. I forget what the others, the opponent's name is or whatnot, but I remember you surprisingly got the win. It was a very short match, and then afterwards she came back in the ring with 2 fly swatters just smacking you up with it.
Oh yeah.
That's I imagine that's part of the goofy stuff that you want to see in wrestling.
Oh yeah.
I have to know, how did the idea even come to be in the first place? Because that has to be just a fun spot to even just bring up.
She went home and grabbed fly swatters, and that's about it. I had a pre-show match, and the pre-show got shuffled 3 times, and the main show card, 3 matches were getting shuffled with the 8 dudes we had, and I kept hovering around the promoter, just staring at him for an hour, and then that girl was by the table, and then somebody, one of the guys we got was like, we need to book more women to work with her, and I said, put me in drag, I'll work her, and then he just looks at me. Promoter just looks at me, I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and I just smile. And then he's kind of giving me a half smile. He looks at her and he goes, "You got your gear?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "Go get it. You got 5 minutes of max." And I grab his hand with both mine and shake his hand as hard as I can, trying to break his wrist. And I go, "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." She went home, grabbed her gear, grabbed fly swatters. We planned the match in about 10 minutes, and we were good to go.
Damn, that is impressive to hear more than anything else. Because I know a lot of wrestling, people for people out there that are like, oh, wrestling is real. I'm gonna be the first one to say it. There's at least a predetermined aspect to it or whatnot. There's still a lot of physicality with it, but like, especially knowing how some of the matches can go down or whatnot. Especially hearing the fact that like you only had like 10 minutes to prep for. I mean, great, a 5-minute match, but still like that.
I had 2 minutes to plan an 8-minute match yesterday.
Oh wow!
with 4 people, not 2.
Oh, lovely! Oh, that has to be fantastic.
It was incredible. It
I mean,
went very well, actually.
I mean, I'm impressed with it anyway. Like, I have to know. Like, let me put you on the spot, if I may, and give you more or less the mindset or whatnot. Let's say that promoter looks at you like, hey, we got this fresh meat right here, yours truly. His gimmick is that he's an artist. You have 5 minutes, and you're about to start in 2 minutes. What's the kind of match that you and I would have?
What kind of training do you have?
Next to none. I mean, I did a rest. I'm saying for story. In real life, I have no training whatsoever. But let's say in this one, I took like a week of classes with Tyler Breeze's studio down in Florida.
Do you know how to bump?
I do know how to bump.
What moves can you do?
A lot of big man ones. In fact, I'm a bigger person. 6'2", 300 something pounds. So a lot of clotheslines, more or less. Maybe some big boots here and there.
So you can do clothesline, big boots. Can you body slam?
I can body slam. Yes.
Can you do a suplex?
I'm still trying to get that down. So probably not.
So body slam, big boot, clothesline. That's all you need. Got it. We got 5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. Wait, who's over?
I'm gonna say you're over because I'm the new guy coming in.
I'm over?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
How much I'm thinking this is my time to think. This is how I roll. How much bigger are you than me? I'm 130 pounds and I'm 5'8". How much bigger are you than me?
I'm 6'2", 300 pounds.
You're 6'2", 300 pounds. Are we on the pre-show or are we on the main card?
Let's go pre-show.
On pre-show?
Again,
okay.
I'm brand spanking new, so pre-show.
I'm not going to count you out then. I do a count out finish while we're on the pre-show, so I'm not going to waste that because pre-show needs to get the crowd hyped.
Okay.
This is exactly how I plan matches. Don't worry about it.
Okay. No, I'm not down. I'm not down in the process.
Do you know how to? Of course, you know how to lock up. If you're doing body slams, you know how to lock up. I don't even know why I asked that. If you don't know how to lock up, Tyler Breeze got a problem.
Yeah, that is fair.
If he's having you do big boots before you know how to lock up. Okay. All right, match starts. We're gonna lock up. You're gonna push me away. You show off your big manness.
Okay.
We're gonna lock up again. You're gonna go behind me. You're gonna get a waist lock. You're gonna lift me. You're just gonna pancake me on the ground, big man style.
Okay.
We're gonna lock up a third time. I'm gonna get a headlock in. You're just gonna stand up like it's nothing. I ain't got nothing on you. You're gonna shoot me off. You're gonna hit me with a big shoulder tackle. I'm gonna sell up. I'm gonna go to the corner. You're gonna go for a big splash. I'm gonna roll out the way. I'm gonna charge you. You're gonna fold me over with a big clothesline. Just kind of ground and pound me for a bit. Give me a couple stomps on the ground. Maybe choke me on the ropes if you want to use your weight.
Okay. Okay.
Eventually I'll work up. You're gonna whip me off the ropes, not out of the corner. You're gonna whip me off. I'm gonna duck a line. I'm gonna duck two. I'm gonna duck a line. I'm gonna duck a back elbow, and then you're gonna fold me over with a big boot.
Okay.
Covers whenever you put me down. At this point, if you really want heel heat, you can pin me just by stepping on my chest.
Ooh, that's a good touch. Nice touch.
If you want to get some heels, pose to the crowd while you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna kick out. I'm gonna start working up again.
Get the classic muscles going.
Oh, you know it. You know it.
Yep.
I'm gonna kick out, pick me up, just toss my ass, you just goozle me side of the head, like hand palms into my jawline.
Okay.
Toss me into the corner. If you strike me once, hit me with just fat line on the corner without running. Just step up in the corner, just bury me with a line.
Okay.
I'm gonna sell there for a second. Go to the opposite corner. Wind up big for a charge. Give it a lot of time. Get some crowd work in there.
Mm-hmm.
When I sit back upright, I want you to charge me. I'm gonna throw my boots up. You're gonna stumble away. You're gonna walk at me. I'm gonna give you a big back elbow, big stunner to the head.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump up. I would probably show you how to catch me for a crossbody.
That would help.
This is the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna give you a crossbody. You'd be like, I've never taken a crossbody. I'm like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dive at you this way. All you're gonna do is bump when I make contact with you.
Fair enough.
Actually, I hit you in the head twice, so that's enough. We only got 5 minutes. I don't really have time to work the leg.
Mm-hmm.
2 big blows to the head with that boot and that back elbow. Big crossbody. Down you go. Actually, we could work to a finish from here. Got 5. Instead of that, I feel like, okay, you're going to catch me in the crossbody instead, so I'm going to dive at you, you're going to catch me in midair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only 130, you should have no problems doing this.
If I have problems with that, I should be worried about more than how this match is going to finish.
Yeah, exactly. I'd probably show you in the back, I'd jump at you, I'm like, you're catching me like this when I come out.
Okay.
Turn to hard cam, if we have one, show you're about to go for something, I'm going to give 2 elbows to the side of your head, stumble off, you're stunned again. Mm-hmm. I'm going to run at you, throw a line. I want you to turn around because I'm going to be coming off the ropes for another crossbody. This time you'll bump.
Okay.
And I'm very vocal in the ring, so I'd be telling you all this in the match as well.
That would be helpful.
Duck your line, big crossbody, you bump. You'd sell up, and I'd give you some sort of simple big bumping move to finish you off. The problem with the size and weight difference is this is an unfortunate booking decision to have me over. But with only 5 minutes, I don't have a lot of time to do much else other than that. Okay. I'd give you a few blows to the head. I mean, I guess the best thing we could do to still keep your size legitimate is I'd probably give you like a big, after the crossbody, I'd give you some sort of huge DDT, because at this point I wouldn't expect you to be able to take my finish at this level in training. So I'd probably give you some sort of huge DDT, even if it's like I jump off the ropes and do it or whatever.
Oh, the jumping off the ropes would give it a nice little dramatic effect more than anything else. It'd make it seem like there's a lot more power behind it.
Yep. I'd ask if you would feel comfortable bumping for me jumping off the second rope DDT. If you said yes, I'm like, okay, we'll finish like that. So slowly step up to crossbody, DDT, pinfall. Right after 3, don't try to time it with the ref. Right after you hear 3, kick out and work your way up. I'm rolling out and I'm gone. So it seemed like you were only stunned momentarily enough for the 3 count to work out.
Right. So at the end of the day, you still get to go over. We get the big moves in, but at the same time, I still look like the bigger figure in this thing. But again, you got the win. You went over.
A roll up. Some people would argue a roll up would probably work out, but with me planning, that probably with the level of experience you have, that'd probably be what I would go for.
That makes sense.
Especially if we're selling the lack of experience out of you. Yep. I wouldn't want just like, any fucking huge dude can just walk into the ring and be
exactly.
A force to be fucking reckoned with. You've already bowled me over with clotheslines and boots.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. All right.
That's probably what I would give you for that level of experience for a 5-minute pre-show match, because we could still do roll up if the crowd's really behind me. I would just, instead of the DDT, I'd find a way to roll you up or something. I'd probably do a big sunset flip if you're comfortable taking that, but it just depends. Maybe you'd cut me off after something and I'd get a sunset flip on.
I'd be down to take a sunset flip bump.
I could go for the DDT, you'd catch me, and then I'd just fight over your back and then roll you up that way. I would slowly clamber over you.
I was gonna say, either way, considering the fact that I didn't time it or whatnot, but in that short amount of time, you came up with a 5-minute match. I think Dave Meltzer will at least give it like 2.5 stars. I think we're good.
Thanks, Meltzer. I'll take my award now.
Rookie of the year, Maxwell Keith.
I wanted to mention because you were pretty flabbergasted at the idea of planning a 4-man match in 2 minutes. I worked a match with a 15-year-old and we didn't plan anything the other day. Oh
wow. Okay.
I had a headache and I told them I don't want to plan anything. We'll just go out there and do stuff. And it wasn't even like a practice match. It was in front of a crowd, and I just told him I'm not planning anything. I have a headache. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it.
You know what? I'm impressed. I sincerely am impressed with this stuff. I mean, again, like I am a fan like through and through. Like I love wrestling as much as I can. So like getting to hear this like behind the scenes stuff and hearing how it can go like one way or another. It could be either like the Macho Man planning every single spot to a T, like every single detail of it, or it could be just like what was it, like Rock Hogan maybe or whatnot, where like there may have been a game plan or whatnot, but like at a certain point they're like, we know what they want. Let's just do what they want.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
Goodness, like that's impressive to hear. So I mean, like, and I imagine like you've already had like a good plethora of matches to where you've had both examples of that, like to a T or whatnot. I have to know, like, of all the matches you've been able to wrestle so far, do you have a personal favorite one, whether it's a favorite match or a favorite moment, like that you've been able to have?
Probably the most fun I've had in a wrestling ring was when the first time my buddy and I were able to work our heel tag team. We were in a big Royal Rumble style match, and I was number 1, he was number 4, I think, and we were one of the only sets of heels in the company.
Okay.
Like, I heard I was number 1, and I went through like the first 10 people at this because we were working somebody else's school show. Okay. And I go and I'm like, "What are you? Face. Oh, okay. What are you? Face. What are you? Face. Great. What are you? Face. Okay, cool. Awesome. Is there not a fucking single heel in this locker room?" Jesus Christ. And there was like one girl who was a heel, but she came out at like fucking 16, and I'm like, I went to my buddy, and I went to my buddy, I'm like, put on the fucking tag gear, we're working heel, and I'm not even asking, we're just doing it. And I was in there for like 20 minutes, and we were able to do a bunch of goofy clown ass spots, and work with a bunch of new people, had a lot of fun interactions with the crowd, and I think that was a whole lot of fun. As far as like just like, because that was, except for the beginning, a lot of just I did a good beginning spot with the guy that was in number. No, I was number 2. He was basically number 1. Time in the ring's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy I started with, aside from what I did with him, which was like a couple of goofy spots, took a big crossbody. It was just a lot of punches and kicks, and then I did a couple leg drops on a guy at one point. But that was a lot of fun. As far as like a technical masterpiece, there hasn't really been one where I still want to work one where I just pump the work rate up like tenfold and just work my ass off for the whole match.
Okay.
And I haven't really had anything like that since I really worked my old trainer, I don't think. I'd say top moment in the business right now would probably be the entire arc around the 607 tournament, but I can't lie when I would say that I wish I had more time for the finals. If I had more time to work a match in the finals, it would have been probably perfect, but they only gave us a couple minutes for the finals.
I mean, that's fair. And I mean, for those that don't know what you're talking about, the 607 championship, that's like, would you consider that almost like because I only got to catch like a couple matches with it. Would you consider that almost kind of like the Intercontinental Championship of your guys' company, Excite or whatnot? No?
That'd be the international title that we have.
Title.
This is just another title. I guess it's meant to be kind of passed around some of the students and some of the newer guys, but despite this, the guy with the longest reign on it so far is a multi-year vet, so...
Okay.
I'm not sure who's getting it next, because currently our guy who trained at the Nightmare Factory temporarily has been holding it for a little while. I have no idea who's getting it next.
Interesting. All right, interesting. Well, I mean, like, I imagine with how much you've already been able to invest in wrestling so far and some of the interesting experiences you've been able to have, I have to know, like, what do you hope to accomplish with the wrestling aspect? Like, what is, like, the ultimate end goal for you at some point?
Be a recognized indie star.
Okay.
Be able to make a decent amount of money. I want to be a big time merch pusher or just a big time social media guy. Honestly, that's like my big goal. I don't care about being like a mid card. Like, I want to be the guy that, like, for an amount of time, like Cassidy was almost becoming, where it's worth it to put me in a big spot on the poster. I just want to become a big time indie guy. If I make it to TV, that'd be incredible. But if I can make it being, mix into streaming with wrestling, and I'm at least a known name in the independent scene, I think I'll be happy.
Well, there you go. I'll tell you what, you tell me where to get one of those Lord of the Flyweight shirts. I'll be more than happy to get that merch in a heartbeat.
I've got one design. I've got one design pending on Pro Wrestling Tees right now.
Ooh, you have me intrigued.
I just need to. I need to submit a couple others, and then we got to start rolling. But I think they're closed on weekends, so they haven't approved me yet.
Okay. Hey, if you need designs or whatnot, I know several people from the podcast or that from Podcast Pass. I can, I can let them be like, hey, this is the guy. Make a cool design.
I've got a couple in the works I got to do.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I'm certainly intrigued what you're able to do with that. I'm certainly hope that you get the opportunity to be that indie star at some point, because I sincerely think that like what you've been able to do already in a relatively short amount of time, I mean, relatively speaking, like it's incredible how much of a presence you've been able to have. And I know that presence has really helped with social media, mainly with the streaming, as well as obviously the VTubing aspect. So I have to know, like, right off the bat, before we even get to, the Maxwell, VTuber, I want to know the Maxwell streamer, if I may. What got you interested in streaming in the first place?
It was just constant talks amongst the group of like, we should be streaming this every time anything funny happens, and then the idea of just being consistently streaming as a collective. It was just a hypothetical we kept bringing up for a while, and I just one day just decided, fuck it, I'll just make it happen. And it was like right on the heels of the big VTuber boom. I unfortunately caught the ass end of it, so I couldn't capitalize as much as I would have liked to. And I'm like, people do this VTubing thing. People like VTubers. Yeah, I could do that. I'll do that. That sounds fun. I'll do that.
Absolutely.
It was really just an impromptu, just on a whim decision.
Well, to be fair, isn't kind of the wrestling how you also kind of got into it as well? Like, yeah, there were some thoughts of it, but it was also kind of a, fuck it, let's just do it.
Yeah, really? At the end of the day.
And I have to say, like, when it comes to your persona as a VTuber and whatnot, I love it. I love the aspect of it. I have to know, like, where did the character of, the Fly Lord, or I guess the Maxwell Fly, however you want to present yourself and whatnot, how did that character come to be?
So, you're talking about the design mostly?
Yeah, exactly, the design.
Okay. So I'll start by saying he's only mostly red because I was already sort of associated with the color red, because that was the only color of gear I wore, and a lot of my social media stuff was red.
Okay.
So that's kind of why red became the primary color palette. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the color red. I regret choosing red every single time I wake up. I made a horrible decision by deciding to make mostly everything red. I've lessened the blow a little bit by incorporating a lot of green with the wrestling gear. I sort of just rock the Christmas colors now.
Right.
And with the tag team, we're going to start being able to use my actual favorite color with gray and silver.
Ooh, okay.
But I guess a couple aspects. I never did any initial sketches. I did like one. Fine. It was basically one draft, and I was just, okay, that's it. We're done. I never did any revisions or anything. And I made it on a whim because I needed a PNG for a VTuber fighting game tournament.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was like, I didn't even think I had started streaming yet. I was like just about to like start developing the brand. And I'm like, oh shit, I need a PNG. All right, let me quick sketch something. All right, this will do. I knew I wanted the fly eyes.
Right.
The wings were a gimme. The tall hat was just funny.
It is.
I wanted, so at least in design, I wanted something that'd be easy to draw, because I feel like way too much, and this isn't me shitting on any other VTuber's design, please don't come at me.
Right.
I think way too many VTuber's designs have way too fucking much going on, which I love. Please, this is from a place of me just thinking about certain things. I love your designs. Some of you have incredible designs, so visually appealing. I love all the bells and whistles and all the intricate care and fine details. Like, you have like fucking interactive works of art in terms of your models. But this is why I have more fan art than you, because my PNG is way fucking easier to draw. I'm just saying. This is why I have more fan art. Because it is so fucking hard to draw some of your goddamn fucking models. Especially if you have a style, if it's from people who have a stylized, like, very stylized like way to work.
Right.
Call it throwing shade if you want. I'm just spitting facts right now.
So regardless, you kept the design simple
I
for
kept the same deal with like fucking like it was I forget who said it, but there was somebody talking about like character designs. I think it was a like donkey talking about Knack. When he's like comparing like Mario and Sonic with like how easy it is for like a kid to draw it compared to like a Knack who is like 5,000 fucking tiny squares.
Right.
And it's like no one's drawing fan art of fucking Knack, bro. And I'm like, okay, I want to keep my. I knew I wanted to keep the design at least simple enough that anybody can draw it.
Right.
The eyes were a gimme. The wings were a gimme. The tall hat was something where I'm like, that's funny. I'm gonna do that. The unibrow is an actual thing I struggle with in real life, but I knew I wanted to give him a unibrow not only as a little bit of reflection to myself, but because I wanted to make a conventionally unattractive character. I didn't want to make like a butt ugly like one of these like who was it I think one of Merriweather his models is like the big fat guy. I didn't want to make like super ugly, but I wanted like features on a character that were a bit conventionally unattractive, like the unibrow. I think it was also a little bit why I made his head square.
Okay.
There were a couple things that were gimmies like that, but I made it in like 5 to 10 minutes. That was like one of the first things I drew when I was starting to get back into art. It was like one of the first things I made was that initial sketch, which I can send you if you want to throw on screen after the fact.
Okay, works for me.
I actually based it on the look, especially the shape, and kind of that initial sketch had a lot of matching proportions to I've told the story before, and a lot of people are flabbergasted when I tell them. I had just finished consuming a Friday Night Funkin' mod, based on an arc of the Chris Chan storyline known as the SingStar Challenge.
Oh God, okay.
so the Liquid Chris versus Chris Chan ordeal, where they had specifically like the music battle.
Okay.
And there's an FNF mod based on that, where it's just the two of them like fucking singing and then playing guitar at each other. It's a fun little play, but I understand with the situation regarding the person, not exactly something to
sink your teeth into. Yep.
sink your teeth into. But they intentionally made Liquid Chris, because the joke is with Liquid Chris that he's just infinitely better at everything than Christian or Solid Chris. So the model in game is like this like tall, handsome, like almost like a little bit cocky, just like suave guy. And I looked at it and I'm like, yo, I vibe with this design. and I based a little bit, at least the shapes and a bit of the proportions on that carrot, like that drawing of that guy. Like his I guess his modeler is like his art sheet in game. Which when I tell people about it, they're like, no way. And then I send them the image of the character and they're like, holy shit, I see it. But I've sort of moved away from that a bit. That's kind of where the square head came from.
Okay.
A little bit, but certain things about that, that's at least where like the initial design before I kind of tweaked it and molded it like fucking Play-Doh into a bit of the shape I got now, where it's a little more consistent. And then I think the pine tree hair, the 3 triangles on the side of the head for a haircut was also just a yeah, this looks funny. This is easy to draw.
Yeah,
type of thing. And just now it's devolved into a joke where like every piece of hair on this man's body is shaped like a pine tree. So this was the initial doodle I made, and my proportions are a little off because I had just started drawing again when I had made this, but this is the initial piece I'd made for the character when I needed a model for the VTuber tournament, and then this is the character I based it on, and as soon as you see it, you're gonna understand.
Okay, I can see similarities. I can see the similarities. I can see how it devolved from there.
But then I've adapted my style since, and now I've gone from, where is it? I've gone from, I mean, like, this was the, where is it? Like, this was the first ref sheet I made when I was getting started, and then, like, this was the initial reactive I used when I drew it, and this is also, you'll see my style a little bit sort of develop over time with this, which then I kind of tweaked a little bit, cleaned it up, certain things stayed the same.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we got to, and this is over the span of, when did I start? November, October?
Of
season 1.
Of 2022?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay.
I only started drawing so I could make all of my own assets, and this is, and then we got to the current one I'm using now.
Right.
Where we develop again, and now I've got the really tiny line pencil style that I've got to make a reactive for. However, with my stream hitting the end of the season 1 battle pass here, we are going to move on to another reactive soon, where I'm going to adopt it to the new style, where I'm now using thin lines, which you can see in, like, if I can find a piece I made with the thin lines that maybe looks vaguely reactive-ish. We'll just do the piece I'm using as a Discord avatar right now for this server. For now, I just use thin lines.
Right.
I started where it's like, yeah, I want thick lines. I think thick lines is my style. Now I just use the fucking paint.net pencil tool for my line work, and then I don't even my line art layer. My sketch layer. I just fill it in with a color, and I'm done.
Hey, you know what? Whatever gets the job done, like, works. And that's another thing that I want to say I admire about you. One, a new layer of appreciation, the fact that you've only been doing this since, like, October of this past year, and here we are, like, not even a year later, and, like, look how much you've been able to develop this thing, more or less. But also, like, all the different assets you've been able to produce for yourself. Now, I think you can agree with me whenever I say we're not exactly looking for, like, Pablo Picasso level of, like, art or whatnot, but the shit, like, you make it work. Like, I fucking love your assets you've been able to draw for yourself, whether it be the PNGs, your screens or whatnot. Like, I remember tuning in for a stream, I think it was the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that you impinged it or whatnot, and the fact that you had, like, the entire, like, the press conference screen or whatnot, like,
the press conference joke,
which I fucking love.
The fucking, oh, there are 2 different layers, but these are the hold on.
Like, that's one of the major reasons why I definitely wanted to bring you on here, aside from the wrestling aspect. Just seeing all the different aspects you've been able to add with your stream and, like, give it that little bit of creativity. Like, I can only imagine how much of a creatively fulfilling venture it must be since you've really divulged yourself into VTubing.
People appreciating the amount of effort I put into this is, like, 90% of the reason I keep waking up in the morning, dude. Like, I specifically, after GIW streams, I force everybody at gunpoint to gas me up after them.
Which is going to lead to 2 parts that I definitely wanted to talk about. Let's start with the GI as part of the GIW, Gumbo Inc. or Gumbo Incorporated or whatnot. Where did that come from? Where did that spawn from?
So since, like, what's the oldest version I have on PC here? Since, like, fucking 2K15-16, I had been playing the WWE 2K games and just making, per game, I would, based on our collective group and the jokes we were making at the time, any memes we were into, I would make 30 characters who, like, a good handful of them would always be like, oh, I'd make all the friends in there. But then all the other fillers, because we do basically a Royal Rumble in every single game, I would make characters just based on jokes we were just really into at the time, or, like, bit characters. Like, at one point, we gained a fascination with a random nameless Warframe NPC, and I recreated him in game, and he had lore and everything.
Oh, damn!
It was like just some random robot, like, miner. and he gained the name Goon, and he was like our hypothetical, like, yo, we want this guy added to the game. Here's his abilities, and became just this demon in the ring who used his finish, the Goon Gun.
The Goon Gun, Jesus.
Like. There's a joke that like noteworthy characters include, like we had a like overarching lore where like the characters would develop in between games. But as I started streaming, I was like, I could just like bring this to a new audience.
Yeah.
And I just decided to do just that. It was nothing I wasn't familiar with already. I guess the most unfamiliar thing for me was just like learning how to do commentary, which ended up being really fucking easy.
Right.
Not to say that I don't have any appreciation for people who do commentary over wrestling and other things, because it's probably a lot harder in certain situations, but I don't find it that difficult to do myself, but I respect everyone that does it.
I imagine for you it's a way for you to creatively like be silly like you want to in the ring, like just go goofy with how some of the commentary is.
You're just talking quickly about what's going on screen, which I know there's deeper to that, but I try to always bring in aspects of actual professional commentary into my commentary with like bringing up story beats and all that, but I wanted to bring that sort of 2K stream to a new audience. Then I decided, I'll just make a bunch of people so they have a personal attachment to this. Like I'll just adapt a bunch of VTubers into characters, and then it went from we're just gonna do a one-off Royal Rumble to what if I just do a whole show? And I wanted to be different because I knew other people were doing it too.
Right.
But I genuinely feel like I have a step above everybody else just because of the level of care and knowledge I have. Because I know for a fact a lot of these other guys are just turning on universe mode and just letting the game go.
Right.
But with me like hand drawing like animatic cutscenes and like bringing in story elements and all this other stuff, even though they might have prettier looking assets, like they've actually managed to make the 2K image importer work.
Yep.
And they've got like their own custom show logos and all that. Like even though their shows may be a little bit prettier, I feel like in terms of enjoyable content and hooking viewers to make them want to come around for the next one, I'm a step above everybody else. And it's just something where now I want to do it because I have a story I want to tell. I know people enjoy it, and I want to continuously prove to all these other people doing it that I am better. I am fueled by spite 75% of the time. I have nothing against the other people doing it for me to have spite this time. I just want to be better.
Fair enough. Honestly, and understandable.
That's what I say. That's legit one of my mantras for, if that's even the right, I don't even know if that's the right word. I'm not very smart, so I don't know if that's the right word. That's one of the things I say a lot when it's like, I say it in wrestling when people get upset. We've had like, I won't go into detail because that's not my place to do so. But there's been situations where there might have been like beef between myself or certain other wrestlers or whatever, or there's been situations with streams because VTubing is, I don't want to say it's full of drama because I just don't think that's true, but there's drama to be found.
Right.
And I just, anytime anyone is upset at me for going out of my way to be as good as I can, be better. Just be better. Put in more fucking effort. However you need to, think a little differently. Like if I'm performing better than, if I have better numbers, if I'm performing better than you, if people are more interested in seeing my content, if people are engaging with me more, be better. Try to be better than me, because that'll make, and then I'm gonna try to be better than you, and then our content's just gonna be better for everyone watching.
There you go.
But if you don't want to, if you get upset for any reason that there's a difference in appeal, Just stop being upset. Just be better.
There we go. That's understandable. That is understandable. And I mean, it's incredible to hear how you're able to like bring the wrestling aspect like both into your streams, like as well as part of your real life or whatnot. But again, I want to go back to asking about the first part of that acronym, the GI, Gumbo Inc. Where did that come from?
So Gumbo Inc. is sort of the new name that we've applied after, I guess I can say I've gone corporate, which in easier terms, after I started streaming, it's become Gumbo Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Gumbo Inc. is just sort of the lore company my lore character runs, but Gumbo Inc. is sort of the natural step up in evolution for our little friend group that was initially called Gumbo Squad.
Okay.
I've just changed the name since, just for the sake of the natural
for corporate
step
branding.
up. the step up, the changes that have been made and where we're going from here. But the origin of the Gumbo name, and I apply it to everything, even my finisher in wrestling is called the Gumbo Twist, as a shout out to my friends. Gumbo came from, there's this old YouTube video back when I tried to make it as a YouTuber however many years ago. I think the video is not, I can actually check out exactly how old it is. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm going to check exactly how old this video is. This video is 9 years old.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And it has, like, all of these videos have less views than any single video I've ever uploaded on my wrestling channel. For good reason. Do not, except for this one, that's 435, but I'm getting off topic. People watch that video because they didn't like it. Because I had a controversial opinion about a video game that I didn't like that people liked. So I liked creative titles. I didn't just like want to title something like Dark Souls 2 gameplay starring Star and Maxwell. I liked silly titles. That was something I always liked, where I had this series where I ran The Sims called The Life and Death of Mr. Nappy. My poker night video is called Nappy Goes All In. Just everything had a silly title, because at the time I was like, people liked videos I think I was inspired a lot by Kraken.
Okay.
Who was making a lot of YouTube content at the time. Like, whatever, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but he was doing that where he would just have game title and then a fun title for the name of the video. And we were playing a game called Takedown Red Saber, which at the time was basically the best you could do for tactical SWAT team action games, because Rainbow Six Vegas 2, that my friend was a huge fan of, was very difficult to get your hands on, and there wasn't like Rainbow Six Siege or any of these other games at the time.
Right.
And we're like, let's just try this random rinky-dink game. And like, Ready or Not wasn't even like a glint in someone's eye at this point.
Right, yeah.
Which is like the big one. But we're like, let's just try this game. Why not? We'll give it a go. It was like dirt cheap. And I wanted a title, and I was thinking for the title sort of naming scheme, I was like, all right, let's think here. You know, we got like Alpha Squad, Beta Squad, you know, like Golf Squad. What's like a funny word we can have for a squad? And then somebody just, either me or somebody else, just said, do Gumbo. And I'm like, Gumbo Squad? Yeah, that's funny. And then I don't know how it stuck. It just stuck, and that was the name of our collective from then on.
You know what?
That's as deep and as intricate of a backstory as you're going to get for the name Gumbo Inc. / Gumbo Squad.
You know what? I appreciate that, and especially how you've been able to incorporate that, like something from years ago, being able to incorporate that to your current stuff, pushing out like an incredible product day in and day out with your streams and the wrestling stuff and stuff like that. Like, I especially love those 2K streams. Like, they're so much fun with how, and like, again, you can probably tell me more about this, but the time and effort you have to put in to get those like creator wrestler VTubers like just spot on, like I can only imagine how much of a task it has to be at times.
I don't focus on the body more is my big thing. A lot of people will spend so much fucking time just making the face. And I just kind of, for me, my big thing is I'll have a character I want to make. I'll be like, do you want me to make them as accurate, or do you want me to take some liberties? Like, do you want me to just make them like fuck off massive and jacked and that's funny? I'll ask. They'll be like, make them accurate. And I'm like, okay. Kind of shape the body, shape the head a bit. I'll edit like maybe at most 10 sliders, like and I'll like that's kind of shaped like that person. I put all of my effort into the outfit, which doesn't take nearly as much time as making the face look 1-to-1 accurate. And I could probably churn out Like if you like, I could probably make the postmodern character in
Ooh.
40 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
The worst part was getting what's up.
No, I was gonna say, because to be fair, remember you made a call a while back to get more wrestlers. I meant to throw my name in the ring, but I kept forgetting to.
Yeah, I had to get rid of a few. I needed more numbers because I had to get rid of a few people just because at this point it's I don't want anybody on the roster who's not at least recognizable in the community.
Gotcha.
And there were a few people who were just becoming problematic with one or many people, and I'm just like, all right, you gotta go.
Right.
Just like you being here and me giving you any opportunities is going to make at least one person upset, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I can get where you're coming from.
But yeah, I could probably make a good character and like with a really solid outfit and legit to the point where you could look at a character and be like, that's who that is, without really trying, without cutting. I won't cut corners.
Right.
If I can adapt a piece of somebody's outfit, I'll do it, and I'll try to make the outfits look as close as humanly possible. But outfits is my big focus. I don't spend time hours upon hours making the face look exact with fine-tuned numbers, which I feel like is where a lot of creative character time is spent. The longest time it took me to make characters was definitely when I was getting started, when I was doing the 30-tuber Rumble, because I needed to make 30 characters before I could run a single stream. But now I'll make maybe 2, 3, 4 characters before each stream, and then debut a couple, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Okay.
But I'm upgrading to 2K23 soon, which means I have to make everybody again.
Oh, the misery! No.
But at the very, I'm only gonna make people I'm using on the shows at first.
Yeah,
so we'll
that's
see.
fair. Well, I'm glad you brought up me and potentially, being a part of this weird, Gumbo Incorporated wrestling or whatnot, because Maxwell, I'm gonna work myself into a shoot here because I have a proposition for you, if I may.
What you got? What you got for me, Posty?
Well. Here's the thing. I imagine, as a wrestling promotion, I know you're part of this, big giant corporation. You're funding stuff like that, but I imagine money is still a thing. You still need to get money and sponsorships and stuff like that as part of Gumbo Incorporated. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please do.
Okay.
So I imagine, you're looking for maybe potential sponsorship opportunities or whatnot. And let's just say, Mr. Moneybags, he really wants to invest in some wrestling. He thinks that is the way of the future. But he's not going to necessarily just put it all on the line and just give it to you right off the bat. He wants to make sure you guys can actually prove it and are worthy. If you'll work with me here, for your next pay-per-view, whenever that may be or whatnot, I think there should be a match. Let's technically call it the Battle of the Bajillionaires or something along the lines of that.
Okay.
You get a wrestler of your choosing. Mr. Moneybags gets a wrestler of his choosing. Have them go against each other. If you guys win, the Postmodern Art Podcast becomes the official sponsor of GIW. If we win, we can just walk away. Just have a good time.
Perhaps down the line. I'll have to see where it fits on the card. Or I'm not sure. The next show may not be the best time, but maybe the show after that.
You know what? I mean, our money isn't going anywhere. We're patient.
Okay. We'll have to talk about this and see what happens.
We'll have to get some corporate behind the scenes talk. I get you. I understand.
Okay.
But let's just say we have some people in mind that we think could represent the PMAP, and I'm pretty sure with the plethora of wrestlers you guys have for GIW, you can find someone to represent your bajillions.
All right. Yeah. I think I can think of something.
Okay. I will definitely keep you. We'll definitely keep in touch. I mean, we got each other's email, right? Something like that.
Yeah. We have ways to stay in touch.
We have ways to stay in touch. If I get just a random fly with a note on it or whatnot, I'm sorry, I have to get the fly swatter out. But we'll work something out. But that aside, just thinking about all you've been able to have an impact when it comes to just art in general, whether it be the wrestling aspect and the storytelling you're able to do with there, or the creativity you've been able to exude with this VTubing and stuff like that. Well, actually, I forgot to ask one last question. When it comes to the VTubing, when it comes to streaming, let me ask this first real quickly. I mean, I imagine, like, especially in such a short amount of time, how much you've been able to produce or whatnot. There has to be, like, at least a stream or a few moments that have just been memorable more than anything else. Do you have a personal favorite moment or stream since you've been along this VTubing path?
My memory is dog shit because they all kind of blend together. I would be honest. Like, I don't. In terms of everything, I just kind of roll. So, like, the first GIW stream was really, really good.
Okay.
I was doing a run of Fallout New Vegas where I had specific redeems on that would they were dirt cheap, and it was force an action and prevent an action respectively, and people would just dump all their channel points into fucking with me and fucking with the game. And that one sticks because people were having a lot of fun with that, and I got a massive gift sub dumped on me.
Oh, wow.
During that, so of course getting a fat fucking cash injection from somebody is gonna stick with me.
Yeah, that's fair. Understandable.
I'm insanely appreciative for that person. There's a lot of moments that just kind of blend together, honestly. There's just I've had a couple lows that I just I think those always stick around.
Right.
But as far as the highlights, so I think I've had a lot of consistently solid streams, and I think if you ask everyone, they might have just the people that have been involved or have witnessed my streams. A lot of people would have different moments that they could say, "Oh yeah, that moment's awesome. That moment's awesome." I know people really love my current funny little video and sound redeems. So I guess another one of my favorite moments is when I introduced the virtual insanity redeem.
Yep.
And I got raided and then nuked with like 30 some odd of them within the span of about 10 seconds. And I couldn't hear myself think over all of the overlapping dancing walkings.
It also didn't help that you were also playing Pizza Tower, which is basically about a person going insane in the first place. So, yeah. I'm sorry, but that's kind of on you. Why would you introduce a point redeem like that for only 50 points? Like, come on,
because it's funny. Because no one else is doing it, and it's funny.
It's true. Should have at least. Well, I mean, you got rated, so I mean, I can only imagine how much a cooldown would have helped. But even then,
people tell me they love my redeems, so I'm gonna keep making them.
Well, good.
It's basically like a fucking. Listen, you spend a point, you get immediate fucking response. I'm sure you're sitting on your Think of how channel points work. You're sitting on your channel points. Somebody might have an expensive as fuck channel point redeem. You're like let's say end the stream. Someone's got an end the stream redeem. You're like, man, I'm gonna save up for that. You ain't spending channel points on nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't spending a damn channel point on nothing. But when when there's a channel point redeem that costs 100 or 50 to 100 channel points, and it immediately puts a funny video on screen that I will immediately respond to and laugh at, and you realize there's no cooldown on that, and you could just fucking hammer away at that button. I'm telling you, my channel points redeems, maybe minus a couple people I know of, I probably have like the most interactivity with channel point. Like people probably spend, and I'm not saying spend more points overall, but people probably hit the redeem button on more redeems on my stream than a lot of people, just because of the way I've set up my redeems. Like I give you that instant, like I give you a reason to want to redeem more often. I make all my redeems count. Like I want there constantly to be point redeem temptation hovering in front of you, so people are constantly using redeems and interacting.
Right. I mean, like, especially you kind of illustrate it with the virtual insanity meme or whatnot. But like,
now I've got 4 exactly like that.
Wonderful. Well, going back to the question I was originally going to ask, like thinking about the ways you've been able to creatively exert yourself, whether it be with the storytelling and wrestling, or with the fun assets and redeems and stuff like that, you've been able to exude creatively with like VTubing stuff like that. Does it amaze you more or less how far you've been able to come along in this art journey? Like how far and how much you've been able to accomplish so far?
Yeah, I'm very proud of myself. I'm extremely proud of the progress I've been able to make in how the insanely short amount of time. I wish other people would tell me more. Wink, wink. Anyone listening who's my friend, fucking DM me and tell me how proud you are of me. Like, I just fucking, where is it? Like, I just fucking there's a post on Twitter going around the QRT this and say what you love about this person. And I straight up posted like, I will not be QRTing this because y'all should be telling me this all the time anyways. And two people have said something nice about me so far, and I see everyone else like QRT in this image, and everyone else is being like, "This person's so great," like gassing everyone up. And I'm like, "You motherfuckers, I ain't gonna forget this."
If it makes you feel any better, don't worry. I'm gonna be able to gas you up at the end of the episode. I got you covered on that one. I got that covered. I just got a few more questions, and then we'll get to gassing. Okay?
Thank you, Posty.
If like, it's incredible to hear, like, especially like I said, with how far you've been able to come along. But for this next question, if I may, how about we go a little above and beyond, and I give you more or less the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags I talked about earlier. I come to you and I'm like, look, Maxwell, we know you can do some incredible stuff. We've seen the inklings of creativity be able to exude, and we think there's so much more you can do. You need a platform. You need an extra little push, and we think we can provide that for you. We have access to anyone and everyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than this should be possible. We should probably be focusing on making sure that wrestlers have health care and all these different benefits, stuff like that. We'll focus on that in a little bit. Right now, we are focused on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Maxwell Keith project?
The dream Maxwell Keith project? I'm starting a real life promotion, dog. Are you kidding me? I'm starting a real life school and promotion.
Okay.
I can't buy my way into success online, unfortunately. Even though, like the way you worded it, that's exactly what I say to every single company or person I reach out to. Where I'm like, hey, I'm fucking amazing. If you give me a platform, guess what? Like, think of what we could do together. And then I'll get a lot of responses, but that's like my biggest argument to people when it's like I fill out for and I'm so sorry to those of you who share opinions on this. When I fill out a Corpy form or to join some sort of collective, I'm like, hey, I think I'm great with your platform. Like, I can take away, like, you're basically dropping the limiters off of me if you give me a platform and you help me make this shit happen.
Right.
But the problem is I can't buy my way into that. So if we're talking, you've just given me a shitload of money. I'm starting my own promotion, and I'm doing everything I can to get that shit off the ground. And from there, sky's the limit.
Yep, the sky is the limit more than anything else. Okay, if again, think that dream promotion, like this is your special thing now. This is your beautiful baby or whatnot.
Okay.
First event, what is the dream main event?
I don't even know who'd be working at that point.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna pitch a dream main event. Instead, I'm gonna pitch you something else. This is something I thought about.
Okay.
I'm gonna make happen what couldn't have happened for me. Okay. I'm gonna start my own school at this venue. I'm gonna run this school. I'm gonna get myself some boys and girls and whoever else that wants to become a professional wrestler. I'm gonna bring them up as best I can. I'm gonna book some fucking local. I'm gonna book a lot of local talent. I'm gonna book some names. Make this a credible fucking. Make this a credible venue that people want to come see. They want to come see consistently. I'm gonna give my boys and girls and whoever else an incredible platform to wrestle on, and I am going to give them their own 607 tournament. That with the outcome that I was never able to get with my trainer. I'm gonna have my number one student win that tournament. They're gonna think they're gonna win that title. Here comes the trainer and the promoter, and I'm gonna say, I don't think you deserve that title. I don't think you should have it. So you know what's gonna happen? On the next show, you and me are gonna wrestle, and if you win, I'll let you have the title. And I'm gonna have an incredible match with my number one student. I'm gonna put them over, and then that's gonna be that.
Well, there you go.
I'm gonna give somebody the moment that I wasn't able to have with my trainer.
But that's incredible to hear. That's incredible to hear. I sincerely hope that if you do get the opportunity, like, you can make that happen for someone, because that sounds incredible to hear.
I would love to.
Though, if I will say, at least for this first event, obviously you're gonna focus on the tournament, focus on students, stuff like that. But you gotta have, like, at least an opener to, like, warm the crowd.
You son of a bitch. Listen, okay.
No. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'll pitch you this one. All right.
Okay.
Because I just saw this like right off the bat or whatnot. But I'm thinking like obviously you're Lord of the Flyweights. So what is a symbiotic kind of relationship that flies would have? Horses. Because, you see flies, they tend to hang around and horse, stuff like that. So give me Maxwell Keith, Lord of the Flyweights, going up against Warhorse to open up the show, get the crowd going before, getting in with everyone else. I want to see you guys basically rule ass and bring down the house before the show even gets started.
If Warhorse is still relevant at the time when I get the company off the ground, absolutely. Because that's the problem. Because I want to base it entirely on who's popular, which fluctuates every fucking week. So I'm going to have no idea who's going to be popular at the time.
Yeah,
you could say Cardona, because Cardona I've seen and I've been in a locker room with. I know Cardona pushes tickets.
Okay.
But by the time I opened my promotion, nobody could give a shit about Cardona. Like, fucking Cardona could fall off the face of the earth for all I know.
Yeah, that's true.
So it entirely depends. Legit, I'd probably just it'd just be main event's gonna be whoever the fucking number one draw, independent wise is, or I'm gonna grab somebody from TV. Somebody I know guaranteed will pull a lot of money. It's legit. Main event of the first show is a fucking money game, and that's it. It is difficult to give an answer because I am picking based on who will get me the most money. The most asses in seats so they can see my product, because then they'll probably want to come back.
Fair enough. Honestly, understandable. But still, having that little, number one student idea or whatnot, that's definitely got to be something we got to emphasize at some point. But sadly, we got to get down from the dream scenario. We got to get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question.
Okay.
Where do you hope to see yourself, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
I hope to be traveling more.
Okay.
I hope to be getting around more, traveling more. Hopefully with a much larger following in that amount of time. Like fucking 10 years, I better have something, because by the time I hit 30, I better hit my stride. So I'm gonna hope in 5 years, by the time I hit 30, I'm hitting enough of a stride where I can comfortably keep going where I'm at. And 10, if I'm still doing the same thing, I'm going to hope that things have just continued to go really well for me.
Well, there you go. That's a good thing to achieve for more than anything, especially, really getting into this business in the first place.
Yep.
As we start to wind down the interview, I just have one last question to ask. Obviously, at this point, you're deeply entrenched in art, whether it be with, like, Sith Wrestling or with the creative assets with VTubing. Like, you're entrenched in it one way or another.
Yep.
How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
That's a tough.
I'm sorry. Thank you for talking, because I thought my connection died for a second there. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, where'd he go?
That one's a toughie. I think it's really important. People need stuff to just think about. That, and like everyone, tons of fucking dudes are gonna tell you that escapism bad, but we all need shit to think about, to ponder, be it art in the form of entertainment or art for the sake of. I don't know if I'm fucking blasphemy saying this on a fucking art podcast, but I'm not somebody who looks at art. Like, I don't think going to see the original Mona Lisa is going to bring me any sort of incredible fulfillment. I think at the end of the day, art is a blanket term for creative just outlets and distractions from all the shit that's going on. It is somebody putting effort into creating and loving doing that, and then somebody loving to consume it. And I think that's about as deep as it goes. It's cool to look for a ton of deeper meaning in things, and like and ponder, but I don't think at the end of the day that a lot of art is going to do a lot for you except help you keep going down this wacky ride of life. I don't know how. Maybe it's only because I haven't experienced it yet, but I don't know how going to look at like like going to see somebody's original drawing piece is going to be some sort of eye-opening moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like it is art is a collaborative effort for people to just help each other just keep moving forward.
There you go. That is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. I mean, seriously, because like you said, it was like controversial, saying the whole entire like fine art thing or whatnot, But at the same time, like that's something that I try to emphasize with this podcast, that like art is in many different forms, and like you said, it's a way for people to have like creative outlets and way to truly express themselves. And if some people find that in looking at the Mona Lisa in the Louvre in Paris or whatnot, that's fine. If they find it by going to MS Paint and drawing a fly, then that's art. And I think what you said right there is a perfect way to illustrate that, if I do say so myself.
This is I don't know. Like looking at I'll bring it up other pieces. Like I don't know how like looking at the Sistine Chapel would do much for me except for being like, oh, that's cool, and I'll look at that for a little while. I'll think at that for a little while, but then eventually it's just going to be like, did this really do anything for me? Right. Except make me not think about the fact that I'm going to die in fucking 80 years.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
For like, give me a bit of a distraction for a little while. It's just a collaborative effort of distractions for everybody, and that's not saying that in a negative term where it's like, a fucking nihilist, everyone's gonna die, nothing matters. But it's legit. It's a cooperative, create and consume. Both sides get a nice distraction from everything that's going on.
Exactly. Like I said, wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Maxwell, that was all the questions I have for you. I've already showered you with a little bit of praise, but I'm showering you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what the fuck I want. Look, like I said before, Max, I have just been impressed with the stuff you've been able to push out. Whether, like I said, again, broken record at this point, but seeing the stuff you've been able to accomplish with wrestling at this point, like knowing how much you've put into it in a relatively short amount of time compared to some people that have been in this business for ages or whatnot, and hearing just how much you've been able to develop yourself in it, it's impressive to say the least. With VTubing, the way you've been able to truly creatively express yourself through there and find an outlet to really let more of that creativity out there that you really want to, like, it's something that makes me love and appreciate your streams a lot more. Like, ever since I've gotten to know you, since I've been a part of some of the similar circles. I mean, I mainly thank Pinch for that one. Pinch was more or less the reason I got introduced to you in the first place. Which, by the way, sorry for telling you to get a life on the recent episode of OST. I was just joking. Like, the moment was there and I kind of took it, but
I know it's
but aside from the point, like, sincerely seeing what you've been able to produce, seeing how much time and effort you've put into all these different creative outlets or whatnot, I have nothing but love and respect for what you do, Max. Like, it's I know it cannot be easy, and the fact you're able to keep pushing forward and keep doing this incredible stuff day in and day out, one way or another. Like, again, I have a lot of love and respect for you, and I sincerely cannot wait for what's next. Whether it be with wrestling, I sincerely hope you get to be in that upper echelon when it comes to some of the cool indie names out there, like a Warhorse or an FE, either Surreal, Matt Cardona, like names like that. Or whether it be VTubing, I sincerely hope you get an opportunity to get more experimental with that stuff and really push out like fun streams that more people get to come by and see a lot more of. Like, the fact that you're only scratching the surface at this point in such a short amount of time leaves me excited to know what the potential could be out there if you keep it up, man. Because I sincerely know I know you're going places if you keep it up. Long and short of it, thank you for what you do. Keep up the incredible work, and I'm going to be rooting for you every single opportunity that I get.
Thank you very much.
I'm just being 100% honest with you. And trust me, and that's the bottom line, because Postmod said so. No, I'm joking. Yes, that was intentional. That was an intentionally horrible Stone Cold Steve Austin impression. I could do better, but that's not the point of this podcast. Now, if people do want to see more of this incredible stuff that I keep preaching about, and see if they want to invest themselves in Gumbo Inc., go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home.
All right, everybody. If you're listening here, you can find me at Max Flyweight on Twitter. You can find me at Maxwell Flyweight on Twitch. You can find me on my YouTube, Maxwell Keith on YouTube. I think it's one of the first results if you just search for Maxwell Keith. That is 2 words, first and last. I'll probably have an Instagram coming soon as I figure out how to do that, because apparently interactivity on Instagram is through the goddamn roof. I got a TikTok. What is my TikTok link? Is that Maxwell or Max on TikTok? 1 second. I just fucking slap videos onto TikTok and just roll with it.
I would like to hope as the TikTok champion, you would at least know what your TikTok is.
I am Maxwell Flyweight on TikTok. I upload funny little skits and all that. I also upload the same videos to YouTube Shorts. If you're not a TikTok user, because I wasn't until I started uploading things. What other sites am I on? I was on Facebook for a little while. But yeah, basically Max Flyweight or Maxwell Flyweight, Maxwell Keith. You can find me in all sorts of places. Keep your eyes peeled. If you're in the upstate New York area, you might be able to head out to one of my shows, or maybe even Pennsylvania. You might be able to catch me live. Ooh. I'm gonna have a pro wrestling tease soon where you can purchase official Maxwell Keith merchandise. Let me just make sure. I think that is what is the site name on that? That is Maxwell Flyweight. That's prowrestlingtees.com/Maxwell Flyweight. Grab yourself some official Flyweight merchandise. I believe that is all of my social medias. I basically always got something in the works. So if you want to see a dude who just wants to make incredible content and puts a lot of effort into everything, check me out. And I hope you stick around.
Absolutely. That sounds wonderful. If you missed any links, I'll be sure to have them in the description below. I got you covered, man.
All right, cool.
Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Final words?
Mm-hmm.
Final words. There is a lot of power in being the change you want to see in the world. There's a ton of power in that. If there's something you want, if you have the capability, you should go out and do it. Or if it's something directly related to something you love doing, be exactly what you want to see. Be whatever's missing in the world. I don't know. I'm not. Listen. I've been dropped on my head a lot. I'm not very intelligent, but I'm not very fucking philosophical. Go out, do good things, support good people. Don't be a fucking asshole, because you never know who you're gonna be who you're gonna be trying to grovel at the feet of later on in life.
Yep.
And just know, take it from me. If take it from me, if you're an asshole to somebody, they're gonna be fucking hoping they make it so they can spit on you later. when you're rolling up on them begging for help, they're gonna be laughing at you. So don't be a fucking asshole.
Yep.
Be better. Be kind. Thank you for everything. You can't squash this fly, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to make you smile.
There we go. That is a wonderful way to end, if I do say so myself. With that, all I have left to say is for the people at home, hasta luego, mi amigos.
You speak Spanish?
I wish. You are the first person to ever question that. Ever. 123 episodes. No one has ever questioned whether or not I can speak Spanish or not. All right.
I've broken the streak.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I greatly do appreciate it. This episode with Max was interesting to say the least. if nothing else, I always love and appreciate getting that little like behind the scenes look when it comes to stuff like this, especially wrestling. I know I've kind of emphasized it before, especially with this episode, but I am a huge fan of wrestling, like massive fan of wrestling. I love spreading that love wherever I can, because just like with the art community, I think that the wrestling community is actually truly something special. If you see how people have been able to come together to support one another, share that love. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are times where it can be toxic, but then again, also the art community can be toxic at times. Let's be honest with ourselves here. No, but in all seriousness, like, sincerely, like, seeing that love of wrestling and seeing that, like, community help, like, people really become a part of it is something I always enjoy. It's something that has certainly affected me a lot more recently because friend and former guest of the podcast, Rocco, he's gone really like all in when it comes to wrestling. Like he was telling me about like video essays and stuff that even I hadn't heard about, and talk about like watching this stuff, and like, you know, we just been like watching matches together. Like it's a fun time, and it really shows how cool of a community something like that can be. I mean, it's something that I've certainly have always felt ever since I first got into wrestling in 2016. Which, if you know about like WWE, especially at that time, was the worst time to get into wrestling. You know, I think I've talked about this with several places or whatnot, but you know, to illustrate kind of how cool the wrestling community is, I want to tell you a cool story that happened to me when I was like first getting into wrestling. When I was first getting into wrestling, there was a wrestler. There was an NXT house show, which for those who don't know, NXT is the minor league of WWE. That's where people go develop their style and understand like the WWE way of things. But anyways, the first house show I went to, there was just these two random wrestlers like opening up the show, but like one of them had this like vibrance about him, this like electricity, like really pumping up the crowd more than anything else. And like he won, and like I wanted to like cling on to this guy. The guy's name was Levis Valenzuela Jr. Really cool guy. Like I really loved the aesthetic, and I was hoping to see more. Well, then about 4 months or so later, there's these promos on NXT TV for this, you know, character. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. And I soon learned that that was the guy that I found at that first wrestling show. And I just instantly clung on to that guy. Didn't get a whole lot of time, but like, you know, whenever he was on screen, he had fun. We go to another house show, like I think it was literally a year since my first house show with my good group of wrestling friends, I should emphasize. These are like my college roommates and stuff. And with that event, at the time, the NXT house shows were doing this like cool thing to where if you like sent a tweet or an Instagram with like their special hashtag or whatnot, you could be entered for like a prize that involved like tickets to the next event, like a signed book and a photo opportunity with one of the wrestlers. My buddy, shout out Tunes and Goons on Facebook Gaming and several other streaming platforms, but shout out Tunes, he was the one that won it. And he immediately saw that the photo he could take was with No Way Jose. Without hesitation, he looked at me. He's like, "You're coming with me." Dragged me along to the little side to where No Way Jose was. I tried telling him how much I appreciated him, but then like kids were swarming up around him or whatnot. So we just quickly took the photo, went back to our seat, enjoyed the main event. Main event happens. You know, me and the group of guys, we go grab a bite to eat. I think it was McDonald's. I wouldn't be surprised if it was McDonald's. We leave to go back because where the event was about, if I remember correctly, like an hour and a half away from where we went to college at. So it was me, Tunes, and then our buddy Richard, who's actually appeared on the podcast, Anime Egotist episode 27, if I remember correctly. So it's me, Tunes, and Richard. And Richard gets gas. Me and Tunes are chilling out in the car. Richard goes inside to pay. He comes back out and he's like, I want you to look through that window and tell me what you see. And I looked through, my first thought is, yeah, there's a Subway in there. We could have ate that. He's like, no. Just look a little to the right. I look to the right, and there's this giant afro that I instantly know was essentially the afro of No Way Jose. I tried everything in my power not to just jump up and just rush in. But I took a deep breath, and I turned to Richard, and I was like, hey, do you think I could just go in there and say thank you for tonight? Because it really meant a lot. And Toons wanted to join in as well, and Richard's like, yeah, no, go ahead. So we go on in. I look at the guy. Now, if you ever seen photos of No Way Jose beforehand or whatnot, he's got this, like, flowing, white clothes or whatnot. I mean, eventually shook up to, like, more colorful ones, but, like, these flowing clothes and, like, you can tell he's, like, vibrant energy and whatnot. I walk in, and this motherfucker is wearing khakis and a polo shirt, and my immersion was broken for a moment. It wasn't real to me anymore. No, I knew it wasn't real. Anyways, so I go in. And first off, he instantly recognized me because the shirt I was wearing had No Way Jose in like an anime style. It was a shirt I got off of Redbubble. And he recognized that shirt. And I'm like, man, sincerely, thank you for, thank you for what you do. You were one of the reasons that I got into wrestling in the first place, just seeing what you've been able to do, seeing how much he had been able to grow at that point, seeing how much you've been able to grow at this point. Like, I sincerely cannot wait for what's next because you're really doing an incredible job. He's like, thank you, man. I sincerely do appreciate it. And then freaking Toons just pipes up. I remember when you were called Levis Valenzuela Jr. and the guy's like, yeah, my shoot wrestling name. For those who don't understand that lingo, that was his real name, apparently. But just that community and that bonding experience or whatnot, that's the kind of stuff that I love and I look for and I crave. And that's why I do stuff like this podcast as well. Part of the reason why I do this podcast. Because the community that I've been able to build and the community I've been able to be a part of makes me truly feel at home. And I cannot thank you guys enough for allowing me to be a part of this and allowing me to show you guys incredible stuff like Maxwell today. And I sincerely hope that that community can only continue to grow from here on out. That's all I can hope for. And hopefully we can keep it up. So if nothing else, at the end of the day, once again, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for letting me be a part of your lives. You have no idea how much it means to me.